Welcome to Sharing the Modern Workplace with Microsoft 365. This tutorial will show you the new and secure way to share files and other content inside and outside your company. The world has changed a lot in the last year, and we're dealing with a business landscape that is markedly different than before. There's a growing realization that remote work is here to stay, so let's do it right. There's basically three things which are top of mind for most of our customers. Number one, how can we do remote work better, ensuring employees stay productive and connected? Two, how can we improve security of all that data and different devices in this new distributed work environment? And three, how can we get the most out of our investment in Microsoft 365? Here's a quick summary of what we're going to take you through today. First, we're going to take a look at what we mean by modern apps in Microsoft 365. Then we're going to take a look at the modern way to share files by reviewing our existing file sharing habits and identifying some distinct advantages gained by adopting new file sharing techniques. We're also going to address some common concerns around security and sharing files using these new modern methods. After that, we'll show you how you can use your SharePoint and OneDrive accounts to request files, large or small, in a secure way with anyone inside or outside the company. We also have a series of short demos that will illustrate some sample work scenarios that will help you pull all of this together. And as we wrap up, we'll introduce you to our online learning platform that can help you get the most value out of your Microsoft 365 subscription. Let's start off with a quick review of Microsoft 365 apps, what they do, and what we should use them for. Everyone knows Outlook, the familiar app that we rely on for email, managing our time, and organizing our meetings. Now, over the years, Outlook has become the one app that people live in for the bulk of their communications. But all that has changed with the introduction of Microsoft Teams. You can think of Teams as a sort of workplace hub that sits on top of all the other Microsoft 365 cloud services, such as OneDrive and SharePoint, providing real-time communication and collaboration for both your co-workers and external participants. Teams can bring your phone, calendar, conversations, and work files into one place so you can all meet right where the work is happening. Next up, OneDrive. Now, OneDrive is your individual cloud-based file storage that you can access from anywhere, including Teams. This is where you store your personal work files, and yes, you can share them with others at your discretion. But lastly, we have SharePoint. Now, SharePoint can do many things, and there are many interpretations of what SharePoint is, but in this context, it's simply a place to store all of your company files securely. You can think of SharePoint as the underlying platform where you create group or Teams-based content that is meant for a broad audience, both internal and external. Now that we've reviewed the modern Microsoft 365 apps, let's explore how we can best use them when it comes to sharing files amongst our teams. How do we provide a consistent and secure experience, whether we're using the familiar Windows File Explorer, OneDrive, Outlook, SharePoint, or Teams? Let's find out. Old habits die hard when it comes to sharing files. Most of us are still using Outlook to send a file to a coworker or external contact. We attach a copy of that file to our email and we hit send. In most cases, the content of those attachments is no longer controlled by you, the sender. And there's other detractors to this method. We find ourselves sending files back and forth, making it difficult to track which version is the correct one. Sometimes we run into attachments that are simply too big to email, or they're blocked by the recipient's email filter. And of course, we have a never-ending stream of emails. What should we start doing? Well, instead of attaching that file, let's share a secure link to a file, which is safely stored in OneDrive or SharePoint, allowing us to keep control of the content. We can start using Microsoft Teams to organize our content, and we can store our company files in SharePoint where they're easily searchable. And what's the result? One source of truth, less back and forth, and a wealth of new features like automatic saving and versioning. We're now going to take a look at a few sample work scenarios using a fictitious company called Contoso Corporation. Megan Bowen is a marketing manager with Contoso, and she has a brand new document that she needs to share with a potential client. However, she doesn't want them to be able to print it, download it, or copy the file. She does want the experience for the recipient to be as simple as possible, but she also needs to protect her company data. Let's see what Megan can do with Microsoft 365 to make this happen. I'm going to turn this over to one of our Microsoft specialists at Ntiva, who's going to take you through a number of demos to show you all of these features.
Before we try this new way of securely sharing files, I'd like to demonstrate how easy it is to create that familiar look and feel with the Windows File Explorer. If you are new to using Teams, SharePoint, or OneDrive, this might be a good first step that doesn't require a big change to your workflow when it comes to accessing files. In our Contoso demo environment, our user Megan Bowen is part of several teams. Inside those teams are channels, which create the structure around your files and folders. Since Megan is new to Teams, she'd like to be able to get to her files in a familiar way until she's more comfortable with using Teams as her primary workspace. To accomplish this, Megan needs to synchronize the Market Plan channel to her computer. I'm going to select the Market Plan channel inside the Mark 8 project team, and then select Files at the top. Just below Files, you'll see a button that says Sync. Click it, and OneDrive will do the rest. Now, when I click on my Windows File Explorer, I have access to all the Go-to-Market Plan files. It's that easy. Okay, let's talk about sharing files and using modern attachments. Modern attachments are actually just links to the data you wish to share, internally or externally. You're no longer attaching a copy of a file and sending it off by email. So let's start with the Windows File Explorer. In my example, I have a Microsoft team that is called Mark 8 Project Team, and there's a channel called Go to Market Plan. I have synchronized this team to this computer so I can have access to the files outside of Teams. If I want to share something, I simply go into the folder. Let's say we're going to share this pricing guidelines. Right-click, select Share. I'm now presented with different options around controlling access to the file. Now, depending on how your environment is configured, you'll have access to one of 4 selections here when you create the link. Anyone with the link is the most permissive. This is the one I'll use for this example. It also offers the most control around the access to the data. So below, I have options to prohibit editing, which I'll do by unselecting the box. I can set an expiration date. I'll set one here. You can also set a password and prevent the end user from downloading this file. So I've set those parameters. Click Apply, type in our recipient. I will use an external contact in this case, someone who doesn't have a Microsoft account or a license, and I'll send a quick note along with and send the link. So that person will receive the link momentarily, and we'll pause there until that is received. Okay, my external user has received the link from the shared file. I click on the email and select Open. I am taken right into the online version of Microsoft Word, where it states at the top, I do not have permission to download or print this file. It's simply a read-only experience. And if I right-click on any of the content, I cannot copy or paste. So that's a quick example of how you can securely share a file with the external recipient. You can set expiring links, a password. You can prevent the person from copying or downloading. Okay, so we saw how to share files from the Windows File Explorer. Now we're going to look at the same sequence in the web browser and use OneDrive to do the same thing. So we're logged into office.com. I'm going to click on OneDrive, and I will see the contents of my files. I'll simply select a file and choose Share at the top. And I'm presented with the exact same Share dialog box that we saw in the Windows File Explorer. So I would set my settings here, create my restrictions, apply those, and send it off. So the exact same experience here in the browser as you would have in Windows. Okay, now let's look at the file sharing experience inside of Microsoft Teams as it is today here in late Q1 of 2021. I'll go to the same team and channel Mark 8 project team, go to Market Plan, click on Files, select the file you wish to share. You'll notice there's no Share button up here currently, so we do have to go into Open in SharePoint first, where we'll see the same set of files and the ability to create that shareable link with the familiar Share dialog box that we've already reviewed. So that is the one difference currently in Teams that is missing. You do have to flip out of Teams and go into SharePoint to create that shareable link. Teams will soon be updated to have the same file sharing experience, but as of right now, you do have to switch over to the web to create that link. Now let's take a look at sharing that same file through Outlook on the web. I've logged into the Outlook client. I'm going to create a new message, and we'll send it to a fictitious person here. Click on Attach, browse cloud locations. Groups are the Microsoft Teams. So in this case, we're going to use that same Mark 8 project team and go into the Go to Market Plan folder /channel. And there's the pricing guideline file I want to share. Select Next, and it attaches the link, which is indicated by the cloud on the left-hand side. Now, by default, when you attach a file here, it's set to anyone can edit. You can adjust it by clicking the arrow and setting the access to whatever meets your needs. However, it is more limited. You can't set a password or make the link expire from this perspective. So I usually recommend, if you're using modern attachments, to use OneDrive or SharePoint to give you those additional sharing options. But that's all there is to it. This person will receive the link the same way the others will, but you have the ability to create a much larger, richer email message. Now let's take a look at how we can securely request files from external contacts. This is a great way to collect files, especially large ones, that might not be allowed through as an attachment to an email. Megan Bowen is a marketing manager at Contoso. She's working with a freelance consultant on a marketing project. She needs to get the latest slide deck for review with her team. This PowerPoint file is several hundred megabytes and can't be sent via email. Let's see how simple it is for Megan to request this file from her OneDrive. To request files, go to office.com and click on the OneDrive account. Select the folder you wish to have the files uploaded to and select Request Files. Give the request a name and then add your recipient. Write a brief message about the description of the request and send the request. This external recipient will now receive the link to upload the requested files. We'll pause here and take a look at that next. Here we can see that I've received the request from Megan Bowen to upload the files. Click the link in the email. This will take you to a secure location where you can easily upload the requested files. Click Select Files, choose your files, and click Upload. Megan will be notified that I've uploaded the requested files via email. That's it. Now that we've seen how we can securely share files to external recipients, you may have some concerns about how permissive you want this feature to be. As an administrator, your organization can create some guardrails around what these unauthenticated links can and cannot do. For example, you could make it a requirement that links expire after a certain number of days. You can also set permissions that restrict users from creating links that allow edit and upload capabilities. These are the default permissions set for the entire Microsoft tenant. These may not be appropriate for every team site you have in your organization. In that case, you can set these permissions for each individual team when necessary. When creating a link, you can also set the default type of link to reduce the risk of someone accidentally creating a link that is too permissive. In most scenarios, I recommend allowing external links to anyone. If your organization is apprehensive about using this feature, start with one of the more restrictive policies. It's worth noting, if your organization already allows any user to attach and send any file to anyone on the internet, then enabling this link sharing feature is no more permissive than your existing policy, and sharing via OneDrive provides a much finer control around your data. Now let's review some additional concerns related to unauthenticated links. If this sounds too risky, consider what the outcome might be. If you decide to block this feature, the experience is degraded and you remove the controls I've demonstrated. Your users will likely go back to attaching files to emails or use other shadow IT methods, which are less secure and difficult to track. What about keeping track of shared links? Well, all shareable links are logged and can be configured to alert administrative staff if a link contains sensitive information or violates your data sharing policy. Lastly, if you're concerned about what it would take to monitor this feature, Microsoft 365 has an automated solution. We can create data loss prevention policies that will prohibit users from sharing data that is classified as sensitive. These policies can apply to all your data stored in the cloud. Microsoft 365 has the power to put all the controls in place to keep your data secure and deliver the best user experience, whether they are in the office or at home. Ntiva can help you design and implement these modern features. Megan Bowen is working with an external consultant on the go-to-market plan inside one of her Microsoft teams. They've been emailing a lot of files back and forth, and it's been difficult for her to track. Megan would like an easier way for her contact to send files to the relevant channel inside of Teams. Let's see how she can do that. Another clever way we can interact with outside contacts is through the use of a little-known feature in Microsoft Teams. Inside each team, there are unique email addresses tied to the channels. You can instruct external contacts to send messages and files to these addresses. This provides several advantages over the old method of attaching files and sending them off by email. It organizes the correspondence and the relevant files into the appropriate team and channel. It does not get lost in an inbox somewhere and provides increased visibility for all the members of this team. To collect and configure these email addresses, select the ellipses next to the relevant team. In this case, I'll select Research and Development and select Get Email Address. By default, this address is not published anywhere and anyone can send to it. However, if you want to restrict it more, you can do so by selecting Advanced Settings and choosing one of the three options. I'm going to use the default settings and save the message. Now I've queued up a message from that outside contact to show you as an example what this looks like in Teams. So that email address was sent out to that recipient for research and development. And now you can see this external guest has just emailed this channel and there's a file attached, which I can access right away. I can also start a conversation inside Teams. I should note that the replying to this message does not go back to the external recipient. It's simply internal correspondence where I can, tag other people in the channel and start working on this particular work item. So that's how you'd use unique email addresses inside Teams to receive messages from external recipients. Okay, now we'll take this a step further and invite an external user to one of our teams so they can interact with the members of the team in a more engaging way. Start by going to the team, click the ellipses, Add Member. I'm going to use the same account that I used before. It's an external account that doesn't have a Microsoft license, and click Add. So we'll pause here and wait for that person to receive the invitation to go through that experience next. Okay, I've received my invite to the Microsoft Sales and Marketing team. It's an email here in my mailbox. I'm going to click the link to open it. I'll use the web app for this example. It asks me to sign in. I've already created a guest account in this tenant. If you're a new user being joined to this team for the first time, you would have to create a password. So that step is not displayed here. But that takes me right into Teams, and I will have access to Sales Marketing, and I also have access to Mark 8 Project, which I was invited to previously. So the interface is very familiar. It looks exactly like the Teams on the right-hand side, and I'm immediately brought up to speed with everything that's happened in these channels. And I can interact with the other members just like I'm a member of the team. Now, as a team manager, if you wanted to remove this person, it's very simple. Click the ellipses, manage team, and let's find our guest that we just added. Rob Cunningham. Click the X to remove me. And I'm immediately ejected from the team on the left-hand side as well. So that's the experience from an external user for joining a team.
After seeing these modern sharing methods, you might be asking yourself, where do I start? Start by moving your personal work files to OneDrive. All those things on your desktop, all those files in your My Documents folder. Get comfortable using OneDrive and adopting the habits we've reviewed today. Moving these files first creates the best introduction to storing your files in the cloud. Once you've reached a high adoption of OneDrive within your business, focus on creating teams and moving those shared files into teams and channels. And lastly, take this opportunity to leave old data behind. Don't migrate files you haven't touched in years. Take advantage of a less complex file system. Ntiva can help design and execute your approach to adopting Microsoft's modern workplace. We're ready when you are.
Today, I've shown you a few modern workplace techniques to enhance productivity while also keeping your data secure. These are just a few of the habits we recommend adopting as more of your daily activities become part of the Microsoft modern workplace. It can be difficult to keep up with the continuous evolution of cloud services. That is where our online training platform can really help. Our training as a service provides brief, feature-focused videos on how to use all the Microsoft Cloud apps. Each module is usually only a few minutes long. Learn at your own pace, track your progress. Focus on the content that is of interest to you without becoming overwhelmed with long, tedious courses. As you move through the content, make a list of some of your daily work activities that you wish were faster, easier, or more intuitive. Reach out to Ntiva. We can help you come up with an approach to learning new technology that fits your organization. Lastly, I want to highlight the value of what we see as the best subscription in the Microsoft 365 lineup for small to medium businesses, Microsoft 365 Business Premium. As cloud services evolve, they've become more consolidated, integrated, and enhanced. A few years ago, you may have needed that third-party vendor to provide device management, advanced email protection, or a chat-based workspace. Today, Microsoft provides all of that and more. The hard part is understanding and implementing all the features and capabilities. Most organizations don't have the time to invest in unlocking the value of how this product can transform your business. And Ntiva can help. Let's take your modern workplace to the next level. Thanks, everybody.